All right, it's January 16th and Ripple is at its near-term all-time high right now. So yesterday we broke $3. Now we're sitting here at $3.36 as I'm looking at this right now, up 14.65 on the day and 45% on the week. What's happening? Well, guess what? We got 4 days till the inauguration. And we know at the inauguration, President Trump has promised that he is going to get rid of the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, and his war on crypto. So this thing is ending. This is a different season right now for blockchain. What's interesting, though, is I want to mention, if you look at Bitcoin here on the day, it's up like 0.16, so it's flat. It was negative, now it's 0.1. Okay, so it's flat on the day, while we're sitting here looking at 14% on things like Ripple. So I think Ripple right now is handedly broken out as a leader, especially when you get companies like JP Morgan that are talking about this ETF, which could be good or bad, but it's going to be a bunch of money into the system, and they're noting that they're expecting about $8 billion to go specifically into Ripple here over the next year. What will that do? Well, that's going to bring the price handedly up. So my expectations personally are to see something like around $8 here over the next 12 months. And I think that that's very possible, especially if some of these things develop. But who knows how some of this stuff develops. It's all going to come down to the adoption on some things. One detail I think that's important to understand is that as the world's changing right now and things are becoming more adopted, I don't think most people understand that Ripple is not just, trying to do money transaction. They're trying to do the transaction of like everything. They have a fantastic platform that might even be positioning them right now in a competitive way. Let me just mention it. So the IRS a little bit earlier here, last month, had shared that, they have some understanding about how they're going to require DeFi brokers to report gross proceeds from digital asset transactions starting in 2027. This is going to require those decentralized platforms to issue Form 1099s, aligning their tax reporting with traditional financial institutions. And so that's a normal thing in the brokerage world. And, by the way, crypto has needed regulatory guidance. Thankfully, there's been organizations out there like Coinbase that's been kind of leading this conversation, trying to develop standards to the Howey test and various things that we understand here in the securities world. We're finally, I think, getting an opportunity to see some of those changes, which is ultimately better, I think, for the average person, where taxes are involved and IRS agreement. I wanted to just note this, though, because one of the things to understand is that XRP is how things will transact, but the XRPL DEX is an interesting one because, see, this decentralized exchange, DEX, operates natively on its ledger without the need to front-end service providers or third-party interfaces. What am I basically saying? This could potentially exempt the XRPL's DEX from the broker classification, which is now putting significant pressure on other DeFi competitors. These are the things that we want to watch right now as we see the new iteration of AI, of blockchain, of these different protocols coming together and then now joining our day-to-day life. Like, how will they ultimately be taxed? How will they ultimately be held, etc.? So anyway, XRP's got an exciting future. We got a new SEC chairman that's going to be coming in. President Trump has already met with the CEO of Ripple, and you'd got to figure that there's some pretty exciting conversations that are happening behind the scenes, especially as we're talking about maybe some better tax treatment for U.S.-based coins. And of course, I think that's ultimately President Trump saying, hey, why don't you guys come on back here to the United States and let's do this together collaboratively, and let's see what price discovery ultimately ends up becoming. And, the Bitcoin reserve, or these strategic reserves of assets, I think are very important. A lot of people were not paying attention because they thought of this as political rhetoric or things that you might be sharing. Well, I think if you talk to people that are actually passionate in the crypto space, this wasn't just like political rhetoric for them. They're saying, yeah, that's actually the idea that we've been saying the whole time. It's kind of interesting to find ourselves at this point of convergence. We're going to get some more regulatory clarity, right? We've got the most pro-crypto president, 60% of Congress pro-crypto right now. I think that there's competitive advantages for some of these coins and some of these projects and things that are out there. XRP is one of these that it has likely been positioned well for the future. Ultimately, that future is the long-term adoption conversation. And we're just talking about price movement day to day, and Bitcoin has been that big leader in the price movement. And again, It used to be that Bitcoin would be like the tide and it would move the markets. When it was up, maybe the other coins would go up just a little bit more. When it was down, they would go down just a little bit more. Well, on a day like today, Bitcoin's flat and you got Ripple up 14+%. And it's ultimately, I think, leading the next phase of this crypto revolution. So we are going into an altcoin season right now. That just means these alternative coins to Bitcoin, I believe, are going to begin to gain a lot more in popularity. I'm not saying sell your Bitcoin. I'm not giving any financial advice on this, actually. My hope is that people are paying attention and they understand the scarcity of things like Bitcoin, which I think are very real. I think that they should understand the adoption, technology, and potentials to do things decentralized, very quickly, very low cost. That might improve the day-to-day functions and things that we are thinking about. We're in a moment right now where good things can happen, not so great things can happen. Not sure what course that we find ourselves, but I'm sure that we're going to buckle up here. The world of crypto is a wild ride. My guess is you're going to see the top blow off on Ripple and some of these projects, altcoins that are out there. Cardano's another one I'm a really big fan of, and I think that what you're in AVAX as well. And what you're going to see is new all-time highs. Probably a pretty good pullback. Those that may or may not, be pumping and dumping or manipulating the markets probably will hit different thresholds and be able to move these smaller coins a little easier than the very large Bitcoin market. But at some point, these things are going to break through, and we're going to see historical lifetime wealth made, I believe, through some of these coins. But also a lot of it lost, as a lot of this is not necessarily backed by something, is not necessarily going to answer all the questions people are hoping for. And I look forward here to the future, and I hope that you do as well. Take care.